Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought I would play with the new Kylie X Kendall collab, and I thought I would play with the new palette. It's so gorgeous. I'm sure you guys have seen it so many times all over social media. My beautiful girlfriend Kimberly gifted me this palette, so as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to do a video on it. So if you want to see how I created this beautiful green look, then keep on watching. Okay, so first I'm going to apply my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. And I've been loving this one. It really helps to kind of blur the pores out and just smooth out the skin. And when you first apply it, it does kind of have a white sheen to it, but it does go away as it absorbs. Okay. And then I'm going to take my favorite foundation, which is the Huda Beauty in Toasted Coconut. I just blew out my hair, so these little like baby hairs are super frizzy at the moment, and my baby hairs, honestly, I swear, never grow. Never. They're always the same length. They always stick out. The rest of my hair grows like crazy, especially with the new things I've been doing to help my hair grow. So, which I may do a video on it if you guys are interested. But the baby hairs just never seem to grow. So what I like to do if I blow out my hair is I will let it cool down. And by that I mean literally my hair will cool down. So when you're blow drying your hair, and as soon as you're done, your hair is still pretty warm, and it can honestly take up to 30 minutes for your hair to cool, depending on what you do to it. So I just let my hair cool down, and then I'll go and do my makeup. And then what I do is I go back and I'll flat iron just these little pieces, just so they kind of stick closer to my head and they're not so poofy. Okay, so next up I'm taking my Ride or Die concealer, which is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and I'm just going to apply that under my eyes. So I'm just applying this under my eyes and a little bit on the nose, a little bit on the chin. So I just like to blend this out. I really like a white under eye, and I like to take it up towards my temple area. But if that look isn't for you, then just do whatever you think works and looks the best on you. Okay, so next up I'm just going to take my setting powder, and I'm using the Hourglass, I think it's the Hourglass, what is it? Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I honestly have been really loving this powder so much. It's a very fine powder, so it does really well for setting the under eye area without drying it out or making it look cakey. And I'm going to set my whole face with this powder. So honestly, the only con to this powder, which honestly isn't the end of the world, but it doesn't have that many holes in the container where where the powder actually comes out. So I feel like I always have to go back, like put the lid on, hit it a few times to get another round of powder. I just wish a little bit more would come out at a time so I wouldn't have to go through that, but it's not the end of the world. It's a really, really nice powder. If you haven't tried it, I would definitely recommend it. And I don't know if they're still doing it because of everything going on, but I'm sure that you could, I would assume you could still go to Sephora and ask them for samples of products for you to try, and maybe they will give you a sample of this if you didn't want to fork out, like, I think it was like 50 bucks, somewhere around there. Like if you're one of those that likes to try it before you buy it, that may be a good option for you. I know when I first tried it, it was my free gift in my birthday month. And I swear the first time I used it, I fell in love. It was so good. And I've been obsessed with it ever since. And I always make sure I get just the jaw area. Okay. And I know I kind of look crazy and ghostly white right now. I just let my powder sit for a couple seconds, and then what I'll do is I'll take a bigger brush and dust off any of the excess. So I'm gonna just dust off anything that's left on the skin that hasn't kind of mushed together. And if you're noticing some of my like crazy bumps, I think there's another one over here somewhere. The day before yesterday, so I'm filming this on Sunday, so Saturday night, I ended up giving myself an at-home facial. So I did, your cleansing, your scrubbing. I did 2 masks. I did the Glam Glow Barbie detoxifying mud mask, which has eucalyptus in it, and then I did a hydrating mask, and then I did extractions. So my skin is a little red this morning, and there's still a little, I don't know if you want to call them bumps, but it's just where I did extractions and it's still a little swollen, but by this evening it'll be gone. So if you see that, that's what that is, craziness. I like to do at-home facials like twice a month. I do like to get facials regularly as much as possible, but with everything going on right now, it is kind of hard to go and get a facial. So at-home facials it is. Okay, so next up for my bronzer, I'm just gonna do a light bronzer today. It's kind of my cleaning, get ready day. And I have to, between today and Monday, we have to clean our house really well. Our one dog is getting leg surgery on Tuesday morning, which will be kind of interesting. She's our senior dog, and she's getting what they call TPLO surgery. So from my understanding, it's equivalent to if a human were to get, what do they call it? If a human were to get ACL surgery. So that'll be fun. So I'm just doing a little bronzer across. Oh my god, do you see these little baby hairs going all crazy? And when I do my makeup, especially because typically I'll do my hair first, when I do my makeup, I don't like to clip my hair back very tight. I feel like it puts dents in your hair and it just pulls, and then when you, I don't know, when you take your hair down, it just doesn't look as pretty. So that's why my hair is kind of loose. My baby hairs are flapping in the wind, but at the end, we'll all come together and look normal. All right, so a little bit of bronzer. So now to start the eyes, which I'm super excited about. Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend, Kimberly. She actually gifted me this palette. It was a complete surprise. So the Kylie and Kendall collab palette. The colors in this palette are so beautiful. I'm sure you've seen it a million times, but if you haven't, this is the color story. A lot of neutrals. There's a few pops of color with the greens, the purples, the pink. I would consider these mustard colors still on the neutral side just because it's not super bright, but so beautiful. So thank you, Kimberly, for gifting me this. So sweet of you. So for today's look, I'm just going to do, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I was kind of thinking neutrals, but then the orange and the mustard is kind of calling my eye. And then the greens are really pretty. So I don't know. We'll just see where life takes us. To prep my eyes, I'm using the P. Louise base. I typically use number, let me see what this one is. Number 1, Rumor 1. This one is Rumor 0. It's actually just the pure white base. I love these eyeshadow bases. I have very oily eyelids, so they do an amazing job at controlling the oil. So I'm just going to apply this all over my eye. And I like to apply it with one of these baby sponges. I know some people like to apply it with their fingers or a brush, but I just prefer the baby sponge. I feel like I can get really into the tear duct area, and I just feel like I have better control of it. Now I will say with these, you don't need a lot of product. A little goes a long way. I learned that the first time I applied this. I was assuming it was going to be very thin in consistency, so I put a lot on, and trying to blend it out was nearly impossible. So a little goes a long way if you haven't used this before. And if you're wondering why I'm using a white base, because I'm thinking of playing with some of the colors, I like to use a white base when I use color because I feel like it pops more. So that is why I like to use white. If I'm using neutrals, then I'll just kind of use a neutral tone base. So I'm going to start out with the shade I'm Telling Mom. It's this one right here. I don't know. Hold on. So I'm going to start out with the shade I'm Telling Mom. It's this one right here. And whenever I do a makeup look, I like to start out with a shade that is very similar to my skin tone. And it doesn't have to be the color of my skin tone. And it just has to be light like my skin tone, if that makes sense. So I don't want to start with a dark shade. I don't want to start with a super light shade. I just want to start with something on the spectrum that's similar in shade. So I'm just taking this in the crease and I'm just doing really, really light movements, windshield wiper movements. And by using a shade similar to your skin tone, you're essentially kind of setting the foundation for your look. And it just helps to blend things out as you create your look a little bit more. So I zoomed you in just a little bit more so you can see kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to do the other side. Or maybe I'll turn this way so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to try and not block the camera. And just circular motions. You really want to be light-handed. Don't apply a lot of pressure and just kind of go back and forth. To be honest, it does take time to blend. So I know sometimes when you watch some of these makeup tutorials, it looks like they blend shadow out in like 2 seconds. I can almost guarantee that they edited, you know, they clipped out half of the blending time just for the sake of the video. But just take your time with it. Just pick up a little bit of the product as you need to. You know, just remember you can always add more, but it's really hard to take away. And if you're doing a colorful look, like let's just say you're doing a look that's all greens, then I would take the transition shades should be almost something like this if you're my skin tone, just something easy to start with. Now I will say that these colors blend really, really nicely so far, or this color I should say. There was fallout in the pan. It's not that big of a deal to me. I know some people hate fallout in the pan, but there's no fallout under the eye, which is amazing. So moving on, I think I'm going to take the shade Cup of Tea, which is this warmer, slightly darker brown, and I'm going to put that in the crease. And the brush I used for the first shade was the Morphe M453 brush. It just looks like this. It's a great, super fluffy brush to start out with. I love this brush. And then the brush I'm going to use now for that Cup of Tea brown shade is the M519 brush, which is this one. And this one's a little bit more stiff. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to switch to this side so you guys can see. I actually switched my brush to the IT Cosmetics brush. I got these brushes in a kit. This one only says shadow, so I don't know the brush type if you were to go look for this individual brush, but the handles are metal and they're kind of heavy, so I really do like it. And just to kind of show you, here's what I'm talking about when I say fallout in the pan. I don't know if that bothers some people. Not me. I only care when there's fallout on my under eye area. So what I like about the brush that I'm using now is the fact that it's stiff. It's very dense. That's the word. It's dense, but it's very, very soft. Like the bristles are so soft, and when I use it, it just blends everything so beautifully. It almost kind of reminds me the way a kabuki brush is. It's very dense, but the bristles are very soft. Same concept, just for an eyeshadow brush. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'll switch over here for you guys so you can see. And I'm just applying this color in my crease. And because I have hooded eyes, I go directly in the crease, and then when I blend it slightly up. So that way when I'm looking straight ahead, you can see the color. If you don't have hooded eyes, then you can just focus on the crease area. But I have hooded eyes, so this is something that I kind of learned on my own that has helped me. I know everybody has different style of hooded eyes. You know, some people have a heavier brow bone area than others, but this is just something that has worked for me. So if you want to try it and it works for you, that's amazing. Or if you have another technique, then just do whatever works well for you. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit more just so you can kind of see the look and where we are right now. So this is where we're at currently. we still have some work to go, but just so you can see kind of the shape and the colors. So this green color is really calling my name. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the green. And this green shade is called To the Moon and Back. So it's the satiny shimmering green right here, lime green. And for this, I'm just gonna apply it with my finger. I feel like for these shades, shimmer or super, super gorgeous. It's like tennis ball green. And I'm just patting it on my lid. I'm not swiping, I'm not dragging, I'm literally just patting the color on the lid. And for those of you that are kind of intimidated by color, you're not sure how to go about using color in your makeup looks. I know some people feel like they don't do it right. They look like a hot mess. They don't know how to make it look flattering on them. So what I always recommend is do something similar that I'm doing. You know, put a color on the lid and blend browns in your crease just to kind of give it neutral, or maybe do a neutral eye on top and do a bright pop of color in the lash line below. And you know, as you get more confident, then you can kind of expand and do some crazy color looks. But I feel like this is a good way to get comfortable wearing color on your lid. And I'm just gonna do the other eye. This color honestly is so gorgeous. I'm living for this color. Let me turn this way. So there is just a tiny, tiny bit of fallout right here. Not so much on this side, it's more on this side. So I'm just gonna brush it away. It brushed away nicely, didn't leave any glitter or anything on the skin. So I'm gonna go back and take a little bit of that brown cup of tea color, and I'm just going to slightly put it a little bit more in the crease, just to kind of blend everything together. Now, because I have hooded eyes, shadows do tend to blend on their own naturally. So it's just kind of, you know, the way of life. If you didn't want them to blend, then your lid color would need to be basically your crease down, and then you would need to create a new crease slightly above your natural crease. So if you're one of those that doesn't like shadows to blend, then I would recommend doing almost like a cut crease type of look. And then I'm just taking a flat shader brush and I'm just tapping over the green with a little bit more. Perfect. So let me zoom you in so you can see a close-up of the shadows. So super, super super, super pretty. So for today's look, which I normally don't do unless I'm going to an event or something super special, but for today's look, I'm going to do some shadow on my under lash line, and I'm going to use the shade here, Kenny Kenny, which is this more darker green. And I'm just picking it up on I don't know what kind of brush. It's just like a flat shader brush. And I'm going to stamp it along my lash line. So I'm going to leave the inner corner bare for the moment because I am going to put more of like a highlight shade there. And it may just be me, but the way I like to do it is I like to apply the color first on both eyes and then go back and blend it out. I just feel like it always comes out looking more even that way. I feel like sometimes when you do one whole eye and then you do the other, you almost feel like that second eye is never, it never looks like the first eye. You know, you're like, oh, well, it's a little higher here and it's a little lower there and it's brighter here, and you kind of nitpick at it. So that's why I just prefer to do the same step on each eye. Okay, so then I'm gonna take, this is just a cheap Estee Lauder brush. I've talked about it in a couple other videos. It came with one of those free sets, but it's just super flimsy. I mean, there's really no structure to the bristles, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna dust the under eye area. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that first transition shade that I put on. It was the I'm Telling Mom up here. And I'm going to put that on the edge of the green and just kind of blend it out a little bit more. And if you accidentally blend too much of the green away, it's okay. You can always go back and add more on top of it, which is kind of like, what I like to do anyway. I feel like you just get a better blend and a better result from it. So it's just something that I like to do anyway. So I just went back and added a little bit more of the green. So next up, I'm going to apply liner, mascara, and lashes, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so I am back. I did liner, mascara, I put my lashes on. So now I'm going to do lips. And if you were curious, I used the Essence Liquid Ink Eyeliner in waterproof. It's this little guy right here. It was $3.99 at Ulta. And I've always loved the Essence eyeliners, mascaras. I think they work really well. There's some bronzers I found that I loved. And I just really think for such a cheap brand or an affordable brand that they have a lot of great products that work well. I've tried some of their shadows and they didn't really work well for me, but as far as eyeliners and mascaras, I think they're great. And then on the lower lash line, I used their, what is it? It's the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil, waterproof in black. And you can barely even read it because I use it so much. Love it. And let's see what, oh, and then I used the CoverGirl mascara. For lashes, I used Huda Beauty. They're super gorgeous. They are the triple stacked. Let me grab. They are the triple stacked. They're the Farrah number 12, the faux mink. I love these. I will say, in comparison to her other lashes, these are a little bit more plasticky. So if you feel the lashes themselves, it's almost like thick plastic. But for a dramatic look or something fun like this, I think they're great. I do wear them all the time, and it's something that I repurchase often. So moving on to lips, because my eyes are green and I have some neutral in the crease, I thought I would stick with a neutral lip. So I'm going to go in with the NYX matte lip liner in Downtown Beauty, and it's just kind of this dark brown color. And I'm going to line my lips. Okay, so here's what the lip line looks like. And originally I was gonna go in with the Dose of Colors. It is a matte lipstick. I don't know what they call it specifically, but it looks kind of like a crayon. And this is the color Butterscotch. And it's just this super gorgeous nude. And it's, I don't know if you can really see in the light. It's really, really light, super pretty. And I was gonna go originally in with this color, but my lips are just so dry today that I think if I were to do a matte lipstick, I would just look like a hot mess. So I don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna grab my, what is this one? My go-to, I guess. This one is the MAC Cosmetics Nude Lipstick in Fresh Brew. This is a lipstick that I have worn for many, many years. It's my go-to nude lipstick. It's the most perfect nude for me. I don't like a pink toned nude. They don't look good on me. They never have, they never will. So this is very brown toned. I have a girlfriend who's very, I have a girlfriend who's a lot paler than me. This looks stunning on her, absolutely beautiful. So it's a color that would look good on everybody. And so pretty, so gorgeous. And then just to finish up this look, I'm going to apply a little bit of highlighter. I'm using a Morphe brush. I don't know what brush this is. It came in a kit, but I love it for a highlight. And I'm just going to use a little bit of the Morphe setting spray. And I'm going to lightly spray it. You don't want it too wet because then when you go to apply it, it's just going to remove whatever is there. And I don't want too heavy of a glow today, which is, I know, not what everybody likes, but I just want something light, a little glow. Down the bridge of my nose. And at the Cupid's bow. So I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it's just this super gorgeous glow. Which, this is the Babe in Paradise Morphe Bretman Rock collab. I love this palette. It is my go-to, which is why it is so dirty and disgusting. It's got makeup all over it. But I honestly love this palette for all different types of highlight. I think it's stunning. So that is kind of my go-to highlight, especially because you can do a light coat and it looks very natural, or you can build it up and give you kind of a super bright beaming glow, which is awesome. So going back to the Kendall Kylie palette, honestly, I really loved this palette. I have played with it once before. I did an all neutral look, but this was my first time playing with the greens and more of the colors. And I ended up using 4 shades, and I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. I will say that if you were thinking of picking one up, I do recommend it. It's a great palette, and because it has a mirror, it's great to travel with, and I think it's worth the price. It was so sweet that my girlfriend Kimberly gifted it to me, so thank you, doll. Love you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got anything else from the Kylie Kendall collection, let me know down below. I would love to know what you got and how it's working for you. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below, and you want to make sure you hit that bell notification so that way you're notified every single time I upload. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.